From the North Shore of Long Island, it's Lax Game Day on News 12 Varsity. And today, two of the best in the tri-state area will clash on this afternoon affair. It's number 6 St. Anthony's hosting number 2 Delbarton. Hi again, everybody. Dan Severino alongside Dylan Butler. Thanks so much for joining us on this Saturday. And Dylan, I mean, you can't get any better than this. I mean, 2 of the top 10 teams in our poll, 2 of the top teams in the tri-state, both one loss on the season.
Yeah, an annual clash. It always lives up to the expectation. The funny thing is, kind of coming in today, I figured one team would be upset off a loss in the midweek and the other one would be flying. But the roles were reversed in this situation. St. Anthony's a big win at Boys Latin, one of the top teams in the country. And then Delbarton, a shocking loss to Seton Hall Prep. So certainly the Green Wave coming into this game hungry to get back in the win column.
You have to take positives away from those losses. And for Delbarton, of course, one of those positives comes from the midfield. One of the best shooters on the team. It's Colin Crowley. He'll be going to play for Villanova next season.
Yeah, Jimmy Cavallo is certainly happy about that. That's no doubt about it. But yeah, look, I mean, one of the top players, certainly. Their offense is very much spread out. So it's not one guy that you focus on. Several guys in that midfield and attack contribute, and he's certainly one of the better ones.
Very similar to St. Anthony's. Not one guy you focus on, but if there is one, he's a man among boys, and he's not even 15 years old, or just about turning 15 years old. It's Brennan O'Neill, 4 goals against Boys Latin last game.
He's been spectacular. You know, the bullseye's been on him as soon as he stepped into the halls here at St. Anthony's because he already had the Penn State commit, but he's lived up to those expectations. Look, he's a big boy at, 6'2", 205, and he's got quick hands, quick feet, a great distributor as well. So he's not just a guy who has that reputation. He backs it up on the field every single game he plays.
So this should be a fun one. Delbarton visits St. Anthony's, a yearly meeting between the two tri-state powers. We'll be back on News 12 Varsity.
It's the reason we keep watching. Because of underdogs, crazy comebacks, and the last-minute heroics. Because we love it all. The faceoffs, the hits, the big-time goals. Because winning never, ever gets old. So, we keep watching anywhere we can. Never miss a moment. Download the News 12 Varsity app today.
We are live from Cy Donnelly Field, South Huntington, Long Island, New York. This is Saturday Lacrosse on News 12 Varsity and a tri-state battle between number 2 Delbarton and number 6 St. Anthony's. Hi again, everybody. Dan Severino, Dylan Butler. Thanks so much for joining us this afternoon. 2 great squads and well-coached as well. Take a look at Chuck Rubling, 31st year as the head coach, more than 450 wins. The New Jersey Lax Hall of Famer. On the other side, it's Keith Weiserick, 19 years at the helm, 9 titles so far in the Catholic League. As the two will shake hands, they're walking across. And Dylan, we have a great battle here. 2 one-loss teams. Obviously, St. Anthony's coming off that loss to Chaminade. They bounce back, get a win over Boys Latin out of Maryland. Delbarton, though, little hiccup against Seton Hall Prep in their last game.
Yeah, real shocking loss for the Green Wave. Consider the fact that they gave up 8 combined goals in 4 consecutive wins. They gave up 8 goals in the loss to Seton Hall Prep, 5 in the 4th quarter when the Pirates bounced back from a 3-goal deficit. So that's not like Chuck Rubling's team. They are so defensively sound. You expect the same to be true today. In St. Anthony's, all they need to see is a replay of that Chaminade game to know what to expect, especially from the long poles of Delbarton.
Liam Higgins in goal to our left, wearing the green uniform. He'll start the first half for the senior. A .793 save percentage to our right. Tom Ligner, the senior, going to UMBC. 56 saves on the season. Down to the faceoff X, number 8, Brian Hanley, the senior for Delbarton. And for the Friars, it's Kevin Buser. We're underway, fresh 12 minutes on the clock. Thanks so much for joining us. Good play on the far wing as Terrence Mooney scoops it up in the midfield. He is a ground ball machine and a one-handed heave across midfield as he was getting absolutely swarmed. Nearly a wave came over him.
That's pretty good early on. You are on your game. But no, listen, Mooney is great, especially on the wing, on those face-offs. That's where he does get a lot of ground balls.
The offensive attack here of Musso, O'Neill, and Huber. Huber is the lefty wearing number 44 and controlling right now on the far side was O'Neill. The freshman in the first one to be on this varsity program in nearly 3 decades, well, 2 decades plus. 1998 was the last time. Joe Yavoli. Here's O'Neal. Gets some space, shoots on the run, and scores. Well, coming off a 4-goal game, the freshman obviously has a target on his back, but he's showing why he's one of the best on the island. It's 1-0 St. Anthony's.
And O'Neal just won an individual battle there to get the goal and get his team out in front. He was a big factor in that win against Boys Latin. He's been so good throughout the year, and there you see him just taking the ball. Michael Houston drew the challenge for Delbarton, but O'Neal won that battle.
So good at shooting on the run, and that natural left hand he has really proves just how special of a young man he is. Already committed to Penn State, did that in 8th grade. As Hanley wins the faceoff, he goes on the run, stick check from behind, and what a play in the midfield by Campisi, the sophomore.
And we talked about him during the football season, and you speak to Richie Reichert, and in our conversation with him about him being a quarterback, he talked about how great of a lacrosse player he is as well. And he is one of the better long stick middies on Long Island. And offside called against St. Anthony's.
Campisi going the play at Harvard, already committed. Took away a point-blank opportunity. Here's Delbarton's offense for the first time. Chance on the near side. Will miss up high.
Yeah, Camizio with the blast trying to get into that top right corner. Backup is there, though. Green Wave maintain possession.
Normally a defensive midfielder, Camizio. Also a Villanova commit, as was Crowley, who was just cradling the ball up high. And here is the first midfield unit of Matt Campbell, Garrett Samuelson, and Colin Crowley. 2 of the 3 they do return in Crowley and Samuelson. Chance in front, down low, and they score. Tommy Schelling ties the game.
Yeah, another great individual move, and just cut around the cage, made a nice swim move inside, and finished to tie this game at 1.
At 2:03 of the first, Tommy Schelling, a Lehigh commit, returning varsity player, 5th goal of the season. Did score last game as well as part of this attack that lost all 3 of their starters from a year ago, Dylan. Michael Rutter, Keegan Kahn, Roy Madigan. Those are 3 big names that are tough to replace, but so far they're trying to still gain some chemistry. That's been really one of the weaknesses thus far with the Delbarton offense, is finding that group and finding the guys that work together well.
Well, the beauty of that, though, for Rubling's squad is you've got such a stout defense to work with. So while that offense gets into gear, sort of similar situation last year with Ward Melville, right, where they had a bunch of new guys up in the attack, but their defense was so good it allowed them, a few games just to get acclimated to each other.
Second midfield unit out there right now, and a sidearm attempt misses wide from Bonomi. Bonomi, Shiraz, Joffrey are the 2 midfielders, along with Musso, O'Neal, Huber, and Danny Parker gets some offensive action here.
I'll tell you, it looks like already we've seen on a few of these possessions here for St. Anthony's that it is Houston drawing the matchup with O'Neal. That should be a fun one throughout this game.
They got the double team there and dispossessed of the lacrosse ball, and here's a clear coming for Delbarton. The Green Wave last season avenging their loss from Bergen Catholic the year before, which was their only loss inside of the Garden State that year. Won the TOC as well. Here's a transition opportunity. Crowley's pass misses too far. Trying to hit number 34, Cole Crushpan. Schelling on the near goal line, zips a pass right through the middle. Couldn't find his target, intended for Matt Campbell, the junior. Now Campbell reaches in and puts it right in his cross. Schelling, far goal line extended. They'll work now behind the cage for number 32, Michael Long. In addition to Garrett Samuelson, who's working right in that slot. Long, first-year varsity player, was on the freshman team a year ago. Skip pass out high to Crowley. Gets the pull and will move the ball over to the wing.
And this is more of what we're used to seeing from Delbarton. Very, very patient offensive sets.
Casey Shoemaker, wearing number 36, is also out there on the field. Shoemaker coming off a 3-goal game. Here's a step down, and bearing a goal is number 20, Matt Campbell. Goal number 6 on the season, and we're all knotted up at, well, it's a 2-1 lead.
Yeah, the pass came from Crowley over to Campbell. Diagonal pass, and Campbell just ripped it in. And Delbarton, which had that early 1-0 deficit, now takes the 1-goal lead.
So Campbell's 6th at .422, a converted attackman who was worked into the first midfield. And a left-handed shot that gives you a good option out there also in that midfield. Good scramble right in the center of the pitch and scooped up by Nicholas Ramsey. As the two face-off guys will go back and forth, it's Hanley and Ramsey, on top of going back and forth also with 2 goalies. The first half will be started by Liam Higgins, and Miles Lanou, who is a junior, will start the second half. Something that Chuck Rubling has never done before between the pipes, a first year, but he kind of likes the contrast between the two, and you're really seeing another solid guy in the first and second half.
You wonder, though, if that's something that'll continue throughout the season, or do you stick with one guy come mid-May and into June when the games are of the utmost importance?
Second midfield out there with Decker, Gregory, and Tria. Now behind the net, Michael Long. The sophomore gets the pull on the far side, worked up high. Here's Reed Gregory, a senior who is another returning varsity player. More of a short stick D midi last year. Schelling shoots low, and he has 2. Back to back to back. 3 unanswered by Delbarton. It's 3-1.
And this rally started with Schelling's first, and situation where he just swims around the cage, shoots low, and it's 3-1 for the Green Wave.
So 3 goals in less than 3 minutes. Schelling has 2 already. Give him 6 on the season. They've been putting the ball in his stick a lot more, and you can kind of tell why as he gets to really work out in this offense. For really, like we said, a brand new group up there on the attack. It's not an easy thing to do. As Hanley down at the X will win this cleanly. The transition game hits the far wing for Michael Long, and he'll cradle on the far side of the field. Well, Dylan, of course, any loss you take, you have to look at the positives from it. And Chuck Rubling saying last game, you know, you give up 5 goals in the fourth quarter. You had a 3-goal advantage. That's something that, you know, you look at yourself and now you go, all right, we need to practice better. We need to be a little more focused Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to get ready for that Thursday contest.
Well, they certainly seem to be a lot more focused early on. Another attempt, and it's taken away. It looked like, again, it was Schelling going for his third, but a clear by St. Anthony's.
Here's Dan Sledge, the short stick D midi. Obviously tough shoes to fill when you got a guy like James Pryor could cover almost anybody in the nation, but he has been working out a lot more, getting some solid minutes. Successful clear for the Friars as they now trail by a pair. Led off this game with an O'Neal goal, less than a minute in. First midfield unit works it around the perimeter of Bo Waters, Jack Hawley, and Terrence Mooney. Here is Mooney, the senior on the run, has the short stick matchup on the far side. That's Garrett Samuelson, who plays 2 ways. Bounce shot bounces over the net from Bo Waters, and they'll regain control.
Yeah, Waters, nice first step, just bounce about 5 yards too early there.
They had Huber right in the middle. Nobody was able to pick him up. Now they hit Huber on the near wing. Matches up against Crowley. Spins around, gets the slide, works back out. O'Neal to the far side. Musso, who has been maybe their best ball handler lately, spin around and buries it just inside the left post. What a goal by Vito Musso.
Yeah, you can see there too, Musso completely harassed there by Matty Douglas, who sends him to the turf just as he turned and fired in that goal. Really impressive individual effort by Musso.
Vito's 9th of the season. Had a goal and 2 helpers in that victory over Boys Latin out of Maryland. And TJ Hegarty now over at Michigan. He was their primary speed guy, their carry guy behind the cage. One of the best first steps that Keith Weisrick has ever had in an attackman. But he felt Vito Musso could be the guy who can control the ball behind the cage. And you see why with that speed, Dylan. Just comes right around and able to feed inside.
Now Hanley with 2 straight clean wins after we saw the wings getting involved in the first few faceoffs.
Hanley last year split time with Troy Higgins, who was a second field midfielder and also took some faceoffs. Now over at Providence. Made some good strides going into his senior campaign, 9 of 15 last season. Here's a turnover in the midfield by Delbarton. And now St. Anthony's has an opportunity to tie the game. Danny Parker right across the restraining line and will feed off to Bonomi and hits his teammate number 16, Sean Derby. Comes onto the field, the sophomore. O'Neal tries to find it low, misses wide.
We saw in that Chaminade game, Dan, that he was Tangretti and Doria and those guys really gave him such a hard time. Really the toughest competition or roughest game that he had so far.
It's the only game this season he doesn't have multiple points. Good hustle play on the far side. It will still stay with St. Anthony's as Musso was over there. Derby was the one with the hustle play. Checked actually number 14, Danny Parker, was the one who cut across. And more than 3 minutes remaining here in the opening quarter. St. Anthony's on the board first. 3 unanswered by Delbarton. And now it's a 1-goal game. Dodging up high. Shot and a goal. Sean Derby. It's 3-3.
Yeah, and I think that's one where you look back, and I think Higgins might want that back for Delbarton. Really didn't seem to be too dangerous of an opportunity, just a shot that had eyes. And as you said, it's not one of those games of huge runs, but we've seen the response now from St. Anthony's after Delbarton scored 3 straight, back-to-back for the Friars.
Under 3 minutes remaining here in the first. Back to the X, and Gavin Musser will win this face-off. Floats a pass across the midfield, right off the edge of the cross of Mike Nicholson, the senior. But corralled on the far side, strong play by O'Neal.
Yeah, he got lucky there. That was a careless lob up through the midfield when really you didn't need that. You could have had a cleaner pass out for the clear, but the Friars maintained possession anyway.
First midfield out there along with the attackmen of Musso, Brennan O'Neal, and now Ryan Reynolds, who comes out for a second straight possession.
We saw a moment ago those ground ball stats. They pretty much, as we expected, close in a tie game early in this first quarter.
Waters doesn't take the pick, runs down the right side instead. He's got the short stick matchup right now. Behind the net, O'Neal. Behind the back pass, trying to get fancy.
I don't know if that was a pass. He might have been going for goal.
So they're good Canada as a shot. And it does make sense. He just didn't have the angle onto the goal.
Got on his horse there, and just as you said, the angle wasn't there, but you love the creativity from the youngster.
Brennan O'Neal last year played for Bayshore as an 8th grader. Had a ridiculous season, more than 60 goals. Here's Mooney. Cuts inside, cross-field pass. Waters now up high, Jack Hawley. He played a lot as a sophomore. Now in his junior campaign. Musso shoots low, and it's stopped by Liam Higgins.
Really good save by Higgins. Low shot, makes the save.
Big hit on the far side of the field by Musso. And that causes a turnover. What a play by the senior. That physicality will go up to Poughkeepsie next year. He'll play for Marist.
Yeah, really good ride by Musso to force the turnover, as we now have under a minute remaining in this entertaining first half between two of the top teams in our tri-state rankings.
Delbarton led as much as 3-1. Cross pass and trying to hit the top of the crease, looking for Reynolds. And that will be a turnover for St. Anthony's.
Yeah, Musso with that cross crease look, and it had to be perfect. It very nearly was, but results in a turnover, and now Delbarton will have the opportunity once they clear, and they do, to hold for the last shot of this quarter.
They cleared about an 82% clip. Successful this time. Chance in front, Samuelson. I think that hit off the bar. Not sure if Tommy Lingner was able to get a piece of that one, Dylan. That had a lot of action on it. Here's Samuelson again, the senior. Shelling down low. He has 2 goals here in the first quarter. Cuts towards the middle, a little bit of space, worked up high with 2 seconds left. Bounce shot, Crowley! He scores right before the buzzer sounds to end the first.
Yeah, officially 1.1 on the clock for Crowley, who just put a bounce shot, through traffic. And Delbarton will head into the second quarter with the 1-goal lead.
A ceremonial face-off down at the St. Anthony's logo. Colin Crowley's 7th goal of the season. That bounce shot, Lingner, I don't know if he got a good piece of that one. I think he wants that kind of shot back. Just skipped it on the carpet the right way. Give Hanley the face-off win to end the first 12 minutes of action. So Delbarton goes into the first break with a 4-3 advantage. We'll be back with the second quarter momentarily on News 12 Varsity.
You watch because it's your home, your school, your team, because it's your brother, sister, daughter, and son. Because you love the "can you believe it, did you see that?" and the "oh my goodness, what a win" moments. So yeah, you watch. Never miss a moment. Download the News 12 Varsity app today.
Welcome back to News 12 Varsity. Dan Savarino, Dylan Butler. Thanks so much for joining us. We begin the second frame between St. Anthony's and Delbarton. The Green Wave with a 4-3 advantage. A late goal by Colin Crowley, Dylan, but so far very entertaining first quarter of action. You take a look at a lot of these stats, very similar.
Yeah, even at shots at 7 apiece. Ground balls, 1. The edge is Delbarton by 1.
Hanley wearing number 8 for Delbarton. Faces off against Kevin Buser, the senior for St. Anthony's, who wears the white uniforms. Delbarton goes from right to left here. Here's Hanley on the run. Bounce pass on the far side. Step down and just missing wide. That was Casey Shoemaker coming off a 3-goal outing. Good hard-nosed player. Long behind the cage. Brady Keneally meets him.
Oh, a score update from the first of our 3 games involving Long Island teams in our Tri-State top 20. Get to that in a second.
Samuelson weaves his way towards the cage and goes 5-hole on Lingner. It's a 2-goal lead for the Green Wave.
Another situation, too, where a guy just walks in. We're not seeing a lot of those assisted goals. It's a lot of individual effort thus far.
Also want to make a change on the 3rd St. Anthony's goal. Number change out there as well, our mistake. Trevor Tyrer was wearing number 16. He's the one who scored the 3rd Friar goal. So Samuelson scores 38 seconds into the second frame. A 2-goal advantage for Delbarton, and we'll have our first penalty upcoming. Some laundry out on the field. This will be going against the Green Wave.
It'll be a hold for 30 seconds. There you see Nick Ramsey to sit this out. So first man up opportunity goes the way of the Friars. Going back to that score real quick, 9-9 Smithtown East, Massapequa, 5:43 left in that one.
First extra man opportunity, again 30 seconds on the clock for this one. Delbarton has only surrendered 1 man down goal on the season. Musso on the 6-on-5, works back on the far side. Here's Hawley. Now O'Neill inverted up high. Here's O'Neill and zips a shot wide.
Yeah, rare chance for him to really completely unload on that shot. Just misses, and we're even now.
Hawley, Waters, they play catch. Back to 6-on-6. Here's O'Neill, pump fakes, and they'll move the ball down low. So 0 for 1 on the man up. Again, that quick half minute went by very, very quickly. Just one shot and missed the cage wide. Musso tiptoes around the crease behind the net. Pocket to pocket behind the cage. And now Jack Hawley with 2 goals on the season. Gets the pole to poke at him. That's number 1, Matt Douglas. And Liam Higgins makes a quick stop on, it looked like a crossfield pass by Musso.
I was going to say, if it was a shot, it came a little bit too early and a bit ill-advised. Good clear for the Green Wave, and they now get into their offense.
Garrett Samuelson back to Crowley. Weaves past the short stick. It was coming. Bounce shot rips off the post. Samuelson misses his second of the quarter by inches. And now here is a chance for St. Anthony's. Looking for Huber. Caleb Monzone with tons of speed burst up the middle and just couldn't feather the pass across in time.
Looking back, you wonder if you probably should have just shot that ball, as Rubling calls a timeout. But it's a perfect ground ball that he picked up too, and he had a head of steam. Instead, he forced a pass in front, and it went awry and allowed the Green Wave to get the ball. 9:07 to go here, first half. 5-3 Delbarton over at Smithtown East. Luke Eschbach scores his 3rd goal, and the Bulls lead Massapequa 10-9, 4:34 left. You know we will be talking about that one, Jimmy and I, on Stick Check Monday at 7, as well as this game, as well as Darien Manhasset. Super Saturday here on Long Island. Doesn't get better than that.
One of my favorite days of the week, Lacrosse Saturday. You look at these two squads, and again, they are, no question, 2 of the best we're going to see in the tri-state area. St. Anthony's, that game against Chaminade a couple of weeks ago, you know, we could always throw that right out the window. That's even what Chuck Rubling said. When you look at the scout, you can't focus in on that as their one loss, because that's just a different animal altogether. But when you go down to Maryland, you beat Boys Latin. The only defeat you have this season was the 4th game of the season, 3rd game of the season. Well, it was a 4th game, but of the season against a squad that maybe is one of the best in the nation in Chaminade, and of course your fiercest rival. This group, year after year, is always, making a case to show why they are one of the best, and a reason why is they can schedule a tough non-league, like seeing Boys Latin, like seeing, of course, Delbarton each and every year, and it really helps.
This guy Una coming in, Darien as well, and look, that's the reason Brennan O'Neill and other guys, they want to come and play for St. Anthony's, and why Chaminade gets the athletes they do. And the same is true for Delbarton. When you play a national schedule like that, it certainly tests your ability against some of the best around.
And Chuck Ruebling saying anytime you see those two teams, they do play Chaminade later on in the season. They'll actually be hosting them on the 13th of May. And they beat them actually at their place a year ago. It's always a good test, a badge of honor to be able to play them. Monzone in the midfield gets bumped off the ball by Matt Campbell. Still pinballs around, skipped ahead, and this ball's flying everywhere. It'll roll out of bounds right in front of the Friar bench. And Delbarton will have the possession. Oh, check that. It'll be St. Anthony's. Excuse me. As O'Neal will hustle right across midfield. Nice stick check by Grant Brewster, the senior captain.
Yeah, O'Neal had no idea Brewster was there. He came in behind. Great stick check, forced the turnover.
Get a big loss on D from a year ago, Jack Kilty. One of the best leaders that Chuck Ruebling has ever coached. He was boys soccer New Jersey Player of the Year. Really solid defenseman. But they get some of that communication and that leadership, of course, from a guy like Brewster. Here's a chance inside. Shoemaker! Hounded from behind, still finishes with the one hand. It's 6-3, Delbarton.
Yeah, second straight time today, Delbarton has scored 3 consecutive goals. They match their, actually they take their largest lead of the game at 6-3. And another great individual effort, that time by Shoemaker.
Delbarton, 2 3-goal runs so far in this contest. St. Anthony's needs a quick response. They'll try and get it from the faceoff X. This one is won by Brandon Rizzuto, the junior.
How about this score also from the Hudson Valley right now? John Jay, Cross River. We've seen them a few times this year. Leading Yorktown 7-2. 4:14 left in the second quarter. Think the Indians are up for that game?
Woo. I know it's not the same Yorktown team, but John Jay is really having a strong start to this season.
Yeah, we saw them out at Smithtown East and beating the Bulls in overtime, and tough, close loss to a Cold Spring Harbor team that right now is number 4 in our tri-state. Indians number 13.
Bo Waters has the short stick matchup. Feeds off to O'Neal. Takes the pick, but hedging it very nicely was Michael Houston, who leads this team and caused turnovers. Waters tries to split dodge, loses the rock. It's scooped up by Brewster and Delbarton. Down the near side of the field. Here comes the pole. Tries to find Long, who shuffles it back in, but he already stepped out. To the displeasure of the Delbarton bench, St. Anthony's from left to right.
And a little bit too quick of a restart for the Friars. We'll bring that back.
Keneally crossfield pass. Here's Greg Campese. Such a good athlete that you don't mind if he jumps in on the rush, even with the pole. Timeout's going to be called. 6:40 to play here in the half. 6-3, Delbarton is leading St. Anthony's. A number 2, number 6 matchup in our tri-state. And, of course, some of those numbers you can flip around. They're very, very close together. And if you want to see the top 20 poll, we'll find out what changes will be made this upcoming Tuesday at 7 p.m. Of course, Jimmy Cavallo hosts that show with a wide array of analysts from all over the tri-state. Tuesday at 7 p.m., only on News 12 Varsity. Well, Dylan, Delbarton, obviously a much better start than it was last game for them. You give up 8 goals in the first 4 games of the season. You surrender 8 last game alone. You give up 5 in the fourth quarter. That's just not the same team that you've really been used to in the last couple of minutes.
And
the
it's
last
funny,
couple games.
Yeah, no, and it's funny, you know, Mike Kinney, I believe it was on our Tri-State show, kind of alluded to it. He said, don't sleep on Seton Hall Prep. They want that game badly. Delbarton knows every time they step on the field, they've got the bullseye because they have the ranking and they are the TOC champs. So that certainly a surprise, but you like the response thus far for the Green Wave. A 6-3 lead over St. Anthony's right now. And for the Friars, coming off a couple of impressive wins, the most impressive, of course, Boys Latin, going down to Maryland to get that win. Boys Latin at the time ranked 10th in the nation by Inside Lacrosse, so huge win for the Friars.
And we were even saying when Chaminade and St. Anthony's played one another, counted up at least 30 Division I commits. Imagine in that game. This one as well, plenty of good talent on the field you'll be seeing at the next level. But for now, they'll enjoy their high school careers as Vito Musso gets absolutely hounded right in front of the crease, dispossessed of the lacrosse ball. And that's been a tough area so far today, Dill. Anytime St. Anthony's has tried to weave inside, they're getting that double team and sandwiched by the green jerseys.
And again, that's what they saw in that Chaminade loss. So all they needed to do is look back onto news12varsity.com or the app, and you see the replay of that game, and you knew what to expect in this one. Ground balls now in Delbarton's favor, 12-9.
Schelling with a good ground ball. Skip pass. Here's Samuelson. Bounce shot, score! Oh, excellent ball movement. All starts from the hustle play in the corner. And Samuelson has 2 on the day. It's 7-3.
Oh, what a move, too, for Samuelson. The quick spin to create a little bit of space than he needed. He gets his second of this quarter. 4-goal run now for the Green Wave, and they have their largest lead at 7-3 with 5:43 to go in the second quarter.
Garrett Samuelson, 6'1", 175 is what he's listed as. Be going to Tufts just a year. Very good academic program. Returning starter from a year ago, and he actually was a converted attackman from 2015 to 2016. Here's Hanley on the faceoff win. Schelling tiptoes around the crease, looks low, and Lingner made the stop. Hit the side of the net as well, and now heave a pass out to the midfield, right on the money. Hanley has been good when he's been winning those cleanly and busting right towards the cage. And so far, St. Anthony's has been very, very fortunate they've been able to slow down some of those rushes. Second midfield unit, Shiraz Jaffrey. And now O'Neal will play catch behind the cage for Ryan Reynolds. Bonomi to Jaffrey. Gets the short stick matchup. Number 29, Anthony Kearns, who stands 6 foot, 200 pounds. A big, big short stick D midi. Here's Tyrer. Flag comes after the shot.
Yeah, you can see the hold on that right around the neck. So another 30-second man-up opportunity for the Friars. They are 0 for 1 with the extra man so far today.
So an important possession here late in the second quarter. St. Anthony's trailing by 4, largest deficit of the game. Waters to O'Neal. The southpaw works the ball off to Waters, now in the far wing. Here's O'Neal. This is his bread and butter, right along that near wing. Quick ball movement. Downstairs once again. 5 seconds remaining on that EMO. Huber. We're back to 6-on-6. O'Neal, crank shot, score! Second goal of the game just as the extra man opportunity expired. It's 7-4.
Funny, I was about to give a lot of credit to the Delbarton defense for their slides and making it difficult for St. Anthony's to find a shot, but then the freshman O'Neal goes out and goes low to low. An important goal for the Friars. Stops that run of Delbarton at 4 goals and gets them within 3.
So it will not count as an extra man goal, but it was nearly one. The full 6 were not on the field for Delbarton at the time. So 4 minutes and change in the second frame. Friars trailing by 3. And Hanley has been good at the X. This time a win, though, by Rizzuto. Good pass. Nicholson! Gotta love it when the Paul buries a goal. His second of the season. It's just a 2-goal game.
That all started with that clean win. It allowed for a little bit of an unsettled situation for the Friars, and Nicholson, the long stick midi, buries it. You mentioned back-to-back goals. That's 2 in 8 seconds.
Mike Nicholson will be going to Cortland next year. Keith Weiserick saying he fell through the cracks along a lot of Division I schools. Got a really good release. Now back-to-back games he has goals. He had a goal and an assist against Boys Latin. A face-off win here for Nicholas Ramsey. Ramsey last game was just 0 for 3. Splitting some time, but not as many face-offs as Hanley. Luca Tria, first goal of the season. And the future Cornell Big Red brings it back to a 3-goal lead.
Yeah, Tria is such a great athlete. We saw him here early in September when the Delbarton football team came to South Huntington, and he was all over the field that game. Again here, took the pass. Crowley finished it. 3-goal advantage again for the Green Wave.
3-year varsity player, working mostly in that second midfield unit. So an important goal is we've seen so far 3 between 2 teams in less than a minute.
Final score out in Smithtown. The Bulls beat Massapequa 10-9. Luke Eschbach with the winner. With 4:34 left, Bulls have won 5 straight games.
Really solid group this year in Suffolk County. Massapequa, of course, always in the mix. So one of the top teams around. Here's a turnaround and an absolute rifle from Brennan O'Neill. A first half hat trick for the freshman.
Yeah, and it's just simple lacrosse, right? He just... Again, you're going to have a mismatch with how big he is at 6'2", 205, so he just kind of posts his guy up, turns and fires, scores his 3rd.
Committed to Penn State when he was just 13 years old. Known to be the youngest to ever commit at that point. Of course, that will change going forward with the new rules in place now in the NCAA. That just came out actually yesterday. Late afternoon. But O'Neill will right now be a future Nittany Lion and turn down a lot of other good Division I schools. Always had that target on his back, and he doesn't mind the challenge. You can tell, very mature on the field.
Yeah, look, there's a reason why he's the first freshman to play in Keith Weiserick's time here as a head coach. He's got tons of options. He doesn't need to have a freshman come up, but he has such poise on the field.
Here's Tria. He's got space and a goal. Luca Tria. What a face dodge. Opened up some room. Hands free. Buries it to the top right corner. It's 9-6.
Well, you called for a play of the week last week. That might be one right there as well with Tria, that great first move just to create his space and then unleashes a rocket. 9-6. The lead now for the Green Wave. 2:16 to go, first half.
Luca Tria coming into this game. Just 1 assist, 5 shots. So far, he has buried 2 of 2 for his first 2 tallies of 2017. Hanley and Rizzuto. And Rizzuto has been pretty good. But he jumped. And there will be a penalty on this as well, delay of game.
A bit of a double jeopardy there where he jumped and he threw the ball away. So 30-second man-up opportunity here for the Green Wave, their first of the game.
Just 2 of 13 on the season. They did score one last game. That was Tommy Schelling. Crowley has the other man-up goal. Late in the second quarter, looking to expand the lead back to 4, which was their largest so far. Here's a shot up high, just missing was Michael Long.
Yeah, give credit to Leaf Johnson there for just creating a little bit of a difficulty to get that shot off.
Schelling to Crowley. Samuelson downstairs on the far goal line in the 6-on-5. 5 seconds remaining. Crowley looks low. Stonewalled by Lingner, and it trickles in. Casey Shoemaker got a piece after Lingner made the first stop and somehow zips into the goal. It's a 4 tally advantage.
And that matches their largest of the game. And Schumacher, it was interesting there because Lingner makes the first save, and as he tried to pick the ball up off the turf to get the clear, it was jarred loose, and then it deflected in. Shoemaker the last to touch it, so Shoemaker, excuse me, the last to touch it, he will get the goal. And Delbarton matches their largest lead of this first half with 1:44 to go here in the second quarter.
Scooped up by Mooney. Gets hounded from behind with the stick, and the stick's still stuck as he'll actually chuck it away, and got away with the, well, it could have been a penalty.
I mean, right in front of the official, too.
And I'll let that one go. Coming inside, Shoemaker, 2 goals today. Samuelson with a $1:15 to go.
And that was Brewster's stick. He's had such a great game thus far.
Schelling with room, up high. 3 unanswered goals, and the largest lead of the game for Delbarton.
And you see a low to high shot by the junior, bound for Lehigh. Largest lead now for the Green Wave, and again, this is a team that doesn't give up goals. I mean, we mentioned it earlier. 8 goals in their first 4 wins, 8 goals and a loss to Seton Hall Prep. So if you're Chuck Rubling, you love certainly that you've got the 10 on the board, and it's getting a little difficult here now for the Friars. They need to stop this momentum, and that's one way to do it.
Stick check from behind, jarred the ball loose. Under a minute to play in a high-scoring first half.
Mark Canal with the ground ball, which allows Delbarton now to potentially hold for the last. And we've seen them really, I mean, 11 goals in the first half. When you look at the numbers of goals they've scored thus far, this is certainly their best output of the season.
Worked around behind the net by Long. Looking to add some more. Campbell straight away. Crowley shoots on the run, just misses wide. 17 seconds still to play here in the second. This is a final score like first half.
Yeah.
Schelling has 3 of those goals. Split dodged around on the far side, feeds off to Long with 10 seconds to play in the half. Schelling inside, and another one. Garrett Samuelson. His 3rd today. It's now 12-6 Green Wave.
And you mentioned Schelling, great pass. And a quick pass and shot. Another goal for Samuelson. 12-6, the Green Wave have doubled up St. Anthony's, his 3rd of the game, and this is like a season's worth of goals for Chuck Rubling's squad in this first half.
To put this in perspective, St. Anthony's has only surrendered 12 goals in an entire game twice. One of them was Chaminade.
And that final score was what we're seeing here in the first half, 12-6.
1 second left, one more shot. Lingner makes the save. And that's the end of the first 30 minutes. A really entertaining first 30 minutes. The 4 unanswered goals has completely expanded this advantage for the visiting Green Wave. Right now, it's New Jersey squad leading the Long Island guys 12-6 at halftime. We'll be back with more on News 12 Varsity.
It's the reason we keep watching. Because of underdogs, crazy comebacks, and the last-minute heroics. Because we love it all. The faceoffs, the hits, the big-time goals. Because winning never, ever gets old. So, we keep watching anywhere we can. Never miss a moment. Download the News 12 Varsity app today.
Welcome back to Cy Donnelly Field, South Huntington, Long Island, New York. Number 2, Delbarton out of the Garden State. Hanging on, number 6, St. Anthony's from the island. 12-6 so far. Very entertaining first half. New goalie to our left, it's Miles Lanoux, the junior who always starts the second half. So far in 2017 for Delbarton, who wear the green uniforms left to right. Tommy Lingner is still in goal to our right. So far in this game between two teams, Dylan, 5 different players have multiple goals. 3 different players have hat tricks. And even when you look at a lot of the numbers, they're very similar. The score is not.
Yeah, it's just the productivity in the attacking third is so good today for the Green Wave. And we were even saying off camera coming in that, you know, when will Chuck Rubling kind of open things up a little bit? They've been so patient offensively. Well, I guess he picked Saturday afternoon in South Huntington to do that because they just put up a monster number. They tied their season high in goals in the first 24 minutes.
And on top of it, St. Anthony's has only surrendered 12 goals 2 times in a game so far in their first 6 contests. They've surrendered that in the first 24 minutes. Here's Mooney. Goes back to the right hand, splits to the left, and zips it wide right.
So St. Anthony's, which lost to Chaminade by the same score, has its work cut out for them certainly here. And again, Delbarton D so stout. So a bit of an uphill climb right now for the Friars.
Yeah, besides O'Neal, the midfielders really haven't had much room. Here is Hawley in the bounce shot, misses wide. When you want to get shots on cage right now, of course, against a fresh goalie. He's used to this, though, so it's not like seeing a fresh guy out of nowhere just comes off the bench. He was pairing himself for the second half as O'Neal looks for another one with a one-handed shuffle. Zips back out to the midfield, still slowly across half field. Reaching in is Leaf Johnson and scooping it up to the cross. Will be Mooney.
Yeah, as expected, you said it perfectly at the start. Just a ground ball machine is Terrence Mooney.
Takes over that role of Jared Nugent, who played the two-way midfielder so well in his years. Bounce shot, and it's popped up high after Bo Waters got the shot off. Reaching in is Huber again, and Lanoux will put it right into his big mesh and move the ball out to the near side for Chris Cologne. Cologne and Lanoux will play catch. Lanoux commit to Yale. Very similar guy, athletic, and so far in the 5 games this season has a .737 save percentage.
Good job by Douglas to get the clear. He'll move back to the defensive side as the Delbarton offense gets going, and this guy's had a great game so far.
He had 2 goals in the first quarter, 3 in the half. Long, the sophomore. Gets the double team. Reaching in is Nicholson and couldn't jar it loose in time, and Schelling will pick it up. Back out to the point. Crowley, lefty shot, stopped by Lingner down low.
Going back, that was a great job by Schelling too. He realized his teammate was in trouble, came to the ball, And there's the clear, and the
Here's
Flyers have
Nicholson,
unsettled.
watch out, Musso up high. Nicholson to Musso, it's 12-7.
And that comes from that clear where Nicholson just picked the ball off the turf, had a lot of room, found Musso by the crease, his second goal today, and good start to the third quarter for the Friars.
So Musso's second, Nicholson, back-to-back games, the long pole has a goal and an assist. Not often you see that. So after the stop by Lingner, the Friars capitalize. And they'll have to chip away and get themselves on a nice run. They surrendered 4 unanswered to end the second half. Delbarton with a 3-goal run in the first, a 3-goal run from the second. Actually, it was a 4-goal run going from the second and all the way into from the first into the second, and then, of course, the 4-goal run to finish off that first half. Campisi with some trouble on the near side, loses the ball. In transition, here's Schelling. Feeds to the pole, and Brewster bounces it up and over.
Yeah, Brewster did a great job. One, forcing the ball out of Campisi with the stick check, then getting the ground ball, and nearly completed a fantastic sequence with a goal, but he bounced it high.
Schelling inside, rips it wide. Just a blink of an eye, Dylan. He has all that space. Just such a good dodger. He's been able to find some open room. Long behind the net. Keneally on him and works it up high, but it will stay with the Green Wave.
The third of our Super Saturday triple header. Darien and Manhasset underway. In Manhasset, Darien early 2-0 lead. 7:10 left first quarter.
Second midfield out for the Green Wave. Decker, Gregory, and Tria. Tria has 2 goals so far, first 2 of the season. Looks for the hat trick, misses wide. Schelling takes the screen, south of the goal, tiptoes around the crease. Back at X will pass it along to Decker. Here is Decker. To the point, it's Shoemaker. Shoemaker has 2 goals so far in this game. Spinning around, Reed Gregory got sandwiched by a couple of Friars. Keneally with a pass right on the money for Bonomi. Here comes Bonomi. Shooting high was Huber.
Yeah, Bonomi was harassed when he got the pass off, and backup was there, though, so St. Anthony's maintains possession, and they're looking to chip away.
Danny Parker stays on the field, along with Trevor Tyrer, number 16, who scored a goal back in the first. Here's Parker. Puts on the brake, switches to the left, and scores! His first of the season, Danny Parker. Back-to-back goals for St. Anthony's. Cuts it to a 4-goal contest.
You are right. He pumped those brakes. You're expecting to see like those tire marks on the field where he burnt the turf with the stop, and it created the space he needed. Nice finish as well by Parker. And now it's a 12-8 deficit.
Danny Parker getting some offensive sets out there. Normally a guy who has rotated in throughout the course of the season. Mostly in there for the clear game. So back to the X as Rizzuto will take this with Hanley. Hanley wins it to his own stick. Feeds it off to Long. Schelling shot. Stonewall by Lingner.
And when you're trying to climb the hill like St. Anthony's is, you do need those stops, and Lingner, one of the better in that position, certainly. And now the Friars, if they can get a goal here, Dan, they'll have a nice rhythm going. It would be 3 straight to start the third quarter. And they would cut their deficit, which was 6 at the break, down to just 3.
O'Neal to Waters. Terrence Mooney on the near wing. Thinks about the split dodge. Will just roll out near goal line extended. And now floats south of the cage as he has the short stick on him. And Camizio gets the double team as Douglas works on him. Up high, Waters step down. Right into the teeth of the D. Scooped up again by Musso. Crossfield pass down low. Johnny Huber. 3 unanswered goals to start the third. And St. Anthony's has some life in them.
Yeah, it was a great look as well from Musso to Huber. And Huber has been relatively quiet in this game. But he gets a huge goal there for the Friars. 3 straight to start this third quarter. And 3 goals is the deficit for the Friars with 5:45 to go here in the third quarter.
The St. John's commit came on really strong last year. Finished the year, actually, 3rd on the team in goals and points. So he was their returning leading goal scorer. He's had some big games so far this season. 2 goals and an assist against Fairfield Prep. A 5-goal outing against Manhasset.
And look at that. A forced turnover there by the midfielders of St. Anthony's. And they've really stepped it up, especially in getting some ground balls, forcing turnovers. Let's see, though. They need to get over, and they will. So here come the Friars.
And Dylan Lingner looks a little more comfortable. Last 2 goals have come after a save he's made. Parker stays out on the field, works it down low. Musso behind the net. Danny Parker scored his first goal of the season just a couple of minutes ago. Bonomi spins around, has the left hand, stopped by Lanou. Rolls back out to the midfield as Murphy Fitzpatrick, the long pole, comes up through center. Camizio, the junior now, feeds off to the near alley.
Dan, that was a great save by Lanou, too, because the shot went far post. He ranged over to his left to get a piece of that attempt.
Crowley on the run, works around a couple defenders. Schelling tries to skip a pass back out to the midfield. It's loose on the carpet. Not corralled yet. And St. Anthony's will have the ball. Danny Parker. A burst of speed up the midfield. Feeds off, down low, O'Neal misses.
Yeah, O'Neal wanted that one. It looked like it got a piece of the outside netting. Vito Musso with the backup. He will start play back in the sequence.
Big possession here for the Friars.
Oh.
Missed pass back out to the midfield. Offsides. Camizio, the D-Midi. Shoemaker dispossessed on that stick check that came from Campese. Grips and rips. That's Dan Sledge with the shot right into the cross of Lanou.
Yeah, Lanou saw that right into his stick. That was not a good sequence for the Friars. Forced one early in the possession. And now they've got to work even harder defensively. So far, though, certainly the best quarter defensively for St. Anthony's, who, I mean, second quarter to give up 8 goals.
Lingner makes the stop right on the doorstep. Nicholson, here he comes. A goal and an assist today. Feeds off to Ryan Reynolds. 2:45 to go here in the third. St. Anthony's outscoring Delbarton 3-0. Here in the third frame, it's 12-6 at half. First midfield of Hawley, Waters, and Mooney. Terrence Mooney, the future Penn Quaker, puts on the second gear, stops Waters, shoots low, bounce shot in. 4 unanswered goals in the third quarter. Just a 2-goal contest.
It's funny, Dan, I was about 5 seconds away from saying Bo Waters has had a quiet game and how the Friars would need him to start to get some goals, and almost right on cue, bounces one in. And all of a sudden, the Friars now within 2 with 2:19 left in the third quarter.
You want to talk about adversity Bo Waters has faced so far this year. Of course, gets really injured during the football season. Supposed to be the starting QB. Was able to come back later on that year, but comes back out on the lacrosse field, and very humbling kid, very upbeat person, hard worker.
Yeah, you speak to Weiserick, and he feels so good to have him on the field, to have him contributing. Really loves the kid that Bo is. Scored the winner early in this season, game 1 against Manhasset, and Waters there kind of goes to a knee. He went to make a pass, got hit, it looked like, at the same time, and the ball sailed on him. So Waters will come off the field.
I think he was inadvertently hit up high. Tries to grab the mask off immediately, and then just goes straight down. Not a good sign. Didn't even make it past the Delbarton bench. So he'll be looked at by the training staff. And now a clear attempt for the Green Wave, who have surrendered 4 here in the third and have not scored yet. Anthony Kearns, 3-sport athlete, cornerback in football, forward on the basketball team. And the defensive short stick midfielder for the lacrosse squad. Delbarton gets their numbers on. Here's Matt Campbell. Quickly out of the gate, comes in with the left hand, dispossessed, bounces around on the edge of the crease. Lingner has the stick right on it and will able to scoop it up. Here's Quinton O'Reilly getting his first action today, number 45. Brother played for the Friars a few years ago. And there's another one who is right on the freshman squad. Goal and an assist this season. Waters seems to be okay, though. He's back out there.
Well, that's a good sign, certainly.
With Bonomi and Mooney. So kind of a mixed bag line, if you want to say. Oh. Waters, split dodge to his left, shoots wide right.
What a first step.
And now Samuelson is down right in the middle of the field and grabbing towards his leg.
Yeah, he was defending when Waters made that move. And now players from both teams down on one knee as Samuelson will scamper off the field. By the way, ball game now up in the Hudson Valley. Yorktown within 1. Kyle Casey's second goal of the game has pulled Yorktown to within 10-9 with 7:30 left in that game with John Jay Cross River.
Huskers making a game out of it. 10 seconds to play here in the third. Chance to put a 5 spot on the board. Here's 2 seconds. Got to get the shot off in time. 1. They will not do so. And that is the end of the third frame. But 4 unanswered goals here in the third. Get the Friars some life along with Delbarton. It's now 12-10 as we head to the fourth quarter, only on News 12 Varsity.
You watch because it's your home, your school, your team, because it's your brother, sister, daughter, and son. Because you love the "can you believe it, did you see that?" and the "oh my goodness, what a win" moments. So yeah, you watch. Never miss a moment. Download the News 12 Varsity app today.
Musso netted his second and then 3 new goal scorers to our score sheet. Parker, Hubert, and Waters, a 4th spot on the board in the third, as St. Anthony's now pulls within 2 of Delbarton. Dan Savarino, Dylan Butler, thanks so much for joining us on this Saturday afternoon. A tri-state clash here from the beautiful campus of St. Anthony's High School, Cy Donnelly Fields.
You kind of figured at 12-6 at the half, we were saying, you know, will this become a close game? But the way this series has gone, this not even really the last couple of years, you'd have to go back, really. It's no surprise, you'd almost say that it's a 2-goal game going into the fourth quarter.
The last time Delbarton won on the island, 2013. Last time they won back-to-back years of this yearly meeting, 2006, 2007. Now Barton will go from right to left wearing the green uniforms. Lanu still in goal to our right. Lingner in the white jersey from left to right. As Buser and Ramsey took the face-off, chaos ensues in the midfield. To Keneally gets some room. Nice headman pass over to Bo Waters. Tiptoes down the sideline, has some space, and they'll begin this offense for the first possession of quarter number 4.
Yeah, you can see already the Friars with that extra jump in their step as they start this fourth quarter. Of course, buoyed by that 4-0 third quarter, which gets them within 2.
Mooney, pump fakes as he works out to the right wing. Had the short stick matchup. Now south of the goal. O'Neal works around, shoots low, and ricochets off the side of the net. Good hustle by Lanu. The Green Wave will have the lacrosse ball.
Yeah, Lanu knew there was no backup, so he made sure that he rushed to get the ball and make sure that St. Anthony's possession didn't last any longer.
O'Neal, a kind of quiet third quarter, Dylan. That's just an adjustment you make. Here's Samuelson, space, and a goal. Garrett Samuelson, his 4th of the contest. The Delbarton lead is back to 3.
Yeah, just some space there for Samuelson and then a rip low. Important goal for the Green Wave.
Samuelson, 9 goals on the season, and he always puts it on the cage, it seems. Enter today leading the team in shots on goal. And don't forget, he actually limped off late in that third quarter, comes back out and looks completely fine. Back to the X. And the wing play gives a win at the faceoff X for Delbarton. Hanley trying to stay on the field, the faceoff man. Here's Schelling. He has 3 goals today. Stops, works behind the net for Mike Long. Long, nowhere to go as Keneally takes him. Skip pass, almost handcuffs Crowley. And the new man on is Samuelson. Works out to the far wing. Shoemaker. And back to Long.
A really good possession here for Rubling's guys because they really didn't have a whole lot of the ball in that third quarter, so now they get to take some time off the clock, get their offense moving.
And the full personnel on the field as well. Samuelson scored the only goal for Delbarton here in the second half. They put a 12 spot on the board in the first 24.
Finley Collins with his first goal. Darien, our #1 team in the Tri-State, leads Manhasset 4-1. early second quarter. You could watch that game as well live on news12varsity.com.
Yeah, tons of top 20 action on this Saturday. Campbell takes a bump, missed a pass. Schelling keeps it in with one hand. Good hustle play again in that corner. Not the first time we have seen Tommy Schelling make a play like that. Crowley gets whacked up high inside. Shoemaker with the flags on the field. Back-to-back goals for Delbarton.
I'd say I'm surprised that call came as late as it did. It almost came from a reaction from the crowd. So the goal will stand, as will the penalty. So it's a 1-minute penalty for the hit up high. So Delbarton not only extends their lead to 14-10, now they'll have a man advantage for another minute.
Leaf Johnson will be in the box. This will be a 1-minute penalty, the first 1 minute extra man opportunity for either team. Technically, they're 0 for 1, but they'd scored just as the time expired. So a chance to extend this lead after giving up 4 goals in the third. Not putting any on the board. Here's a face-off win as Brewster will scoop it up on the near side of the pitch. Camizio in the midfield. And Crowley is on there. So 6-on-5 lacrosse, the next 35 seconds now. You know they're going to take their time, wait for the right opportunity. Let as much as 6. Shoemaker, Campbell, and Schelling. Now the far wing, it's Crowley. As Samuelson, they play catch around the perimeter. 15 seconds on the EMO remaining. Long, near goal line extended, pocket to pocket behind the cage. Crowley, bounce shot, stopped by Lingner. Scooped up, ripped right off the top of the bar. Another chance got stopped by Lingner. Well, Shoemaker just missed by inches on the crease. And the second attempt was a kick save and a beauty.
And what a wild scramble in front as well as that ball popped right out in front of the crease.
Back to 6-on-5, but the Green Wave have the ball. Samuelson to Campbell. Crowley with some space. Skip pass. Here's Samuelson again. Sidearm attempt. Misses wide. For a team that didn't have the ball really at all in that third. Got stopped a couple of times by Lingner. This has been the best couple of possessions.
And they've come at such a perfect time, too, for the Green Wave. Because to that point, it was all St. Anthony's.
Crowley on the run and buries it in the bottom left corner. 3 unanswered goals here in the fourth frame. It's now 15-10 Delbarton.
And you just kind of wonder if for St. Anthony's that hill a bit too steep to climb. Again, it was 6 goals at the half. They do such a great job to get within 2, but Delbarton, the first 3 of this fourth quarter. And again, the storyline being how many different guys involved in the attack. 3 different goal scorers, and they're going for more.
Hanley on the win, and Michael Long cashes in. 16-10.
And that's 2 goals in 6 seconds for Delbarton. So that 6-goal lead back there again.
Timeout, St. Anthony's. Friars are getting crushed by a big Green Wave here in the fourth quarter. It's now a 6-goal lead. Well, Dylan, when you look at it so far, what a response by Delbarton, especially after a third that was not very good for them. They got stopped a couple of times, couldn't get the lacrosse ball back, turned some over. But it all comes down to the faceoff X. They get the wins from Hanley. They get the offensive opportunities. They work the ball around, and now the lead is back up to 6.
Yeah, I mean, an impressive fourth quarter. And you kind of wonder a little bit what the message was from Rubling to his guys. Again, so experienced, so many wins, Hall of Fame coach and Chuck Rubling. So the message, certainly whatever that was received in a big way for Delbarton, because they've responded with 4 straight goals. There you see the shots, 8-1 this quarter for Delbarton. So that's, I was never very good at math, but I can tell you right now, that's at 50% clip, goals for shots. And both these teams will be still involved, of course, in our Tri-State Top 20 poll, which is very interesting when you think about it. I was thinking coming in, Amanda Puglisi was asking me the other day about Delbarton, after the loss to Seton Hall Prep, maybe where would they be now in our top 20? Of course, Chaminade having a great season as well. Darien right now leading Manhasset, they're number 1. But I don't know, a win like this maybe takes away some of that difficulty of that loss to Seton Hall Prep. I don't know.
It was a late goal. They surrendered. It was just a poor quarter. But you respond offensively, and that's something they have not been executing well. Has been offensively. Well, they put a 16 spot on here in the contest. 12 goals in the first half alone. Most goals St. Anthony's has surrendered all season. And think about the competition they have played. Some of the top teams in the nation. Manhasset, a good offensive team. They scored 12 on them. Chaminade put 12 on the board. Fairfield Prep put 11 on the board. Boys Latin put 11. So Delbarton will slow down this offensive attack. As expected, leading by 6 goals.
And just as I mentioned her, Amanda Puglisi, heading out of Cy Donnelly Field, she'll take her 3rd stop of the day. She's lucky because she was able to go out to Smithtown East early. She'll head out to Manhasset now to see Darien Manhasset. We only get to see the one game live. We have to watch the others on the News 12 Varsity app, but that's one of the, I guess, joys of being Amanda Puglisi.
And for us, it's just picture-in-picture.
That's right.
Worked up high by Reed Gregory, the senior. Here's Luca Tria, and what a contest he has had, scoring his first 2 goals of the season on 2 shots.
Yeah, he loves this field.
Long sidearm pass up high, Decker, and the step down misses.
5-2, Darien leading Manhasset. 3:13 left, second quarter.
Shelling, another opportunity, misses wide. And Dylan, when you talk about some of the staple programs, really in all this tri-state, Darien, of course, is one of the staples in Connecticut. Long Island, there's a lot of them. Chaminade and St. Anthony's, of course, are up top, if you want to say, because of the private school. Delbarton really has been the cream of the crop in the Garden State for a number of years, and what Chuck Rubling has been able to do, last year winning their 14th state title, 5th TOC. Guys just want to go there, and something they do which is different than some of the other private schools is there's some players on the field where lacrosse is not their number 1. They have an opportunity to play multiple sports when you play for the Green Wave.
Yeah, I mean, Tria, a prime example, right, where we see him. I mean, he will go on and play collegiate lacrosse, but he's a guy who was on the football field and part of that Green Wave squad that came to St. Anthony's and dealt the Friars a week 1 loss in early September. And, last year we saw it too. Keegan Kahn was one of their leaders. Another high shot, another penalty for the Friars. And Keegan Kahn was one of their better soccer players. They've had some hockey players as well on the lacrosse team.
So a 1-minute slash against Connor O'Reilly, the sophomore. It was a verbal commit to Georgetown. Could have been 2 or 3 slashes in that last sequence. 1-minute penalty, 0 for 2 today. And again, just 2 of now 14, well, excuse me, 2 of 15 on the season for Delbarton. That's, I guess, one area that, you of course want to improve on is your special teams. Man down has been very sound. They've only given up 1 all year long. The man up, you only score 2.
Kind of think, too, the way this game has gone for Delbarton, maybe they're showing they could win games in multiple ways, right? I mean, they've given up 10. That's their season high, but they've also scored 16, which is also a season high.
You take away from last game where they gave up 8 and then 5 in that fourth quarter. The first 4 games, they only gave up 8 goals total as Crowley zips a shot into the back net. That's a hat trick. And also on the man up, it's 17-10.
Yeah, just a rip from the right side of the field. Another goal for Crowley. Another highlight to cut for our knock operation. Katie Epifani, Mike Monty there in Woodbury for us today, doing the honors. And before I forget, Dan, how about the job that our Bob Stack has done here as well, providing the graphics?
Hanley after the face-off win. Misses wide. He's our statistician. He's our face-off guy. Well, he's kind of like our face-off guy. He's winning it for us.
He is 100% today on the face-off.
He's giving us the possession. He's giving us the score on the bottom. And, of course, Tom Schnarr's upstairs.
Great photos today as well from Chris Bergman.
Well, I don't know about that yet. I haven't seen them yet. But they're always great. It's Chris Bergman's photos. Come on.
You just insulted the man.
I can never.
And now what is going on?
Samuelson works up high, and what a fourth quarter this has been for Delbarton. Again, you give up 4 goals in the third. You don't score any. Gets back to a 2-goal game heading into the fourth, and right at the start of that final 12 minutes, you put on another goal, and here's another one from Samuelson. Give him 5 today. 6 unanswered goals in the fourth frame, 2 of them coming from Samuelson. And the Green Wave fans are loving it.
Takes the pass from Shoemaker and just spins low, scores 2:34 to goal. Largest lead of the day for Delbarton. And now they'll make some subs. Get some additional players in. His 5th goal of the game for Samuelson.
And if you didn't see it before, Tom Schnarr's focusing in on our man Chris Bergman. Well, I'm sure got a great shot on that one. We'll have to see it after the game. 17-10, another face-off win here for Delbarton. 18-10 is the score. Most goals that St. Anthony's has surrendered all season. In their last 2 wins, they've given up 20. Combined. That was against Fairfield Prep and Boys Latin. And up next for them will be Iona Prep, which is another solid group. It's part of the city squads. Followed by Yorktown, St. John the Baptist. Will be heading on the road for the next 3. And meanwhile, for Delbarton, Sparta next on the schedule. Always fun to say that name. Malvern Prep, Mountain Lakes. Mountain Lakes is, one of those who's still, of course, in the mix every year. When asking Chuck Rubling about some of the teams he feels maybe in New Jersey that anybody has surprised you, said, no, really just the same teams as always that can always compete for a TOC. About 10 to 15, nobody really has separated for him, but a lot of good squads.
And don't forget, too, if you're a New Jersey Lax fan and watching this one, well, one, you're probably pretty happy right now. And another great game coming up tonight. We've mentioned the triple header here on Long Island, but there's a good one, Ridge and Ridgewood. You want to check that one out later on. That'll be a 4 o'clock face-off. Lou Brogno on the call for that one. As we're inside now, the final minute. So this will be a decisive win for the Green Wave. The response, exactly what they wanted. Well, what they wanted. I'm not sure it's what they expected. It's never easy to come to Cy Donnelly Field and get a win as a shot rings off the crossbar by Tommy McCowett.
They've had 3 posts today, and there's another one that will tickle that twine. It's Dante Corrado adding to the mix. 19 goals scored in the game for Delbarton. Well, the Friars will drop to 5-2 on the season. Delbarton, what a response from the Seton Hall prep game. Said they didn't have the proper focus going into it, and it showed on Thursday. Well, I think they had the focus for this one. And only a 2-day turnaround. Another face-off. This is Danny Colon. And picked up by Fitzpatrick in his own end. Moved over to Douglas. And the buzzer sounds. Delbarton, for the first time since 06-07, defeats St. Anthony's in back-to-back years. And they come to the island and put a 19 spot on the board. 19-10, the final score at St. Anthony's. We'll be back with more and talk to one of the victorious Green Wave in just a couple of moments, only on News 12 Varsity.
It's the reason we keep watching, because of underdogs, crazy comebacks, and the last-minute heroics. Because we love it all, the face-offs, the hits, the big-time goals. Because winning never, ever gets old. So, we keep watching anywhere we can. Never miss a moment. Download the News 12 Varsity app today.
Back one final time here on News 12 Varsity. 19-10, the final score. Number 2 Delbarton takes over to Cy Donnelly Field and puts a big offensive day on number 6 St. Anthony's. And Garrett Samuelson here, the senior, he had 5 of those goals. I mean, offensively, what kind of a performance was this for you guys? What was clicking so well with this group?
I mean, these past couple of games, it's been big. The coaching staff has really gotten on us for not reaching our potential, and you know, it hurt, but it was the truth. And so that really led us to work hard in practice and after practice shooting. And this was just really just an outcome of that. That was a big outcome.
After that Seton Hall prep game, of course, where you guys were up in that contest, even Coach said it, that was probably a good lesson for you guys, preparation coming in. What was different going into this game?
You know, we faced some, we had to take our humility medicine right there. So we had to realize that, you know, we aren't as good as we thought we were. And so that really brought us back to reality and had to realize that we have to stick to the basics, the ground balls. I mean, St. Anthony's really was a tough opponent on the ground balls, but we fought through, and they had a great run in the third, but that was big on bouncing back with that.
Yeah, I was going to mention about that third quarter. I mean, you guys give up 4. It's back to a 2-goal game. What's being said before you head into the fourth and you score another one to open up the fourth?
Let's just win the next one. You know, we knew their run was going to come in the second half, but it was all about winning the next one, getting the ground ball, making the simple play, and that's what happened.
For this team overall, TOC champs a year ago, you bring back some key pieces. You wanted them in the midfield. What's different about this group compared to last year's squad?
You know, we're not really focused on last year. I think this is a new team entirely, new senior leadership, and I think the seniors are going to lead us to as far as we want to go, so that's the biggest part of it.
One of the seniors is this guy. He had 5 goals today, Garrett Samuelson, in a 19-10 win for Delbarton. That's going to do it for us here at News 12 Varsity. Many thanks to our entire crew, as always. For our producer, Tom Schnars, helping him out, Bob Stack. and my broadcast partner, Dylan Butler, I'm Dan Savarino saying thanks so much for watching, and good night from Cy Donnelly Field.